Welcome to the Revolution Dentistry Podcast. Guys, welcome to a very special episode of the Revolution Dentistry Podcast. Today we actually have our first repeat guest, Dr. Jim Arnold. Thank you so much for joining us again.
It's my pleasure. I feel really special. Repeat, yeah.
Yeah.
I must not have struck out the first time.
No, you didn't. No, we enjoyed your episode and so did many others.
Okay.
And so we're happy to have you back again. Just as a quick recap, okay, he does luxury dental retreats.
I
right?
do.
Okay. And so he actually has had a couple, or at least one, over the past several months. And we wanted to ask him, because he's been doing a lot over these past several months. He's been a busy guy. And, we would like to ask Jim how, it's been going with luxury dental retreats and any other things that you have going on at this moment. And kind of, fill us in on what's been going on.
All right. Wow, it's a little bit of everything, I think.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, the family's busy. Everybody's doing great. Visiting kids out in Richmond, Virginia, and my other daughter in Nashville, Tennessee, and my son in Bloomington, Indiana, and my youngest is getting ready to go to art school in Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. So just chasing them around a little bit, which has been great. But you mentioned the retreats. Mm-hmm. It's been phenomenal. Okay. We had a great luxury dental retreat in Puerto Vallarta about a month ago. Guys came from all different places. The dentists that we have at these retreats are generally speaking very successful. Okay. Our attendees had practices doing anywhere from 3.5 million up to 10 million a year. Okay. But the reason they're so successful is they invest in themselves. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of dentists either don't have the time, don't have the money, or that's how they feel, and they just never prioritize it. Mm-hmm. And there is a general rule, not as successful. You can be in your office 52 weeks a year, working 40 hours a week, and maybe you do really well, maybe you burn out, maybe you get really out of balance. Mm-hmm. And so, with the luxury retreats, what we've tried to do is combine really high quality education with a vacation. Mm-hmm. Everybody likes a little luxury, right?
Absolutely.
Be treated like a VIP, right?
Yeah, come on.
And so I feel like we kind of cover both sides of it. If you're a busy dentist who feels like you can't get away because you're have so much to do at the office, and gosh, I want to take a vacation, well, why not make it about education and go somewhere really cool? So we went to Puerto Vallarta. We were in a 22,000 square foot mansion.
Oh my gosh.
We had chefs at the house, and our guys were amazing. They're really good. And this one was all about kind of finding balance in life. Okay. We looked at the 4 B's. Body, being, balance, and business. Okay. Body, obviously, we're talking about your health, your fitness, that sort of thing. Yeah. Being, we're kind of getting into spirituality a little bit, not necessarily religion, but more just spirituality, which may be meditating for some people. And then balance, we're getting into relationships. Your love relationship, maybe your parenting relationship, your friendships, stuff like that. And then how all of that leads into business. Yeah. Because if you're out of balance in life, like if things aren't going well at home, unfortunately, we tend to take it with us to the office. Or vice versa. If things at the office are stressful and things aren't going well, we tend to take it home with us. Right. So the idea for everybody to find balance is get things in harmony. Okay. So that we're not going home and having arguments with our wife, because we're stressed from the day.
Because we're going to lose those.
Yeah, we always lose those. I don't know about you guys, but I've never won an argument with my wife.
No, me neither.
She's also an attorney, which means she's got an unfair advantage.
Oh, unfair.
Yeah, I know.
Unfair, on top of being a wife.
No,
double whammy.
You know what? This retreat was cool. It was an opportunity for guys in a small group to be vulnerable. And this was a men's retreat, just because I was working with Dr. Jeff Buski. He is a coach of male dentists. Okay. Because our profession is rife with substance abuse, divorce, and unfortunately suicide. Right. And people always are shocked to hear that. People are outside of the dental community. They don't understand it. They think, gosh, well, dentists, they've got an easy life. They just go in and check my teeth and they're good to go. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, dentists, as a general rule, don't get trained in running a business. They don't get trained in communication skills. They don't get trained in leadership skills. Those are things that you've got to have in spades to be successful in dentistry. Mm-hmm. I mean, the technical stuff, you learn that in school, and hopefully you continue to hone your craft and get even better on the clinical side. Right. But it's really easy to overlook some of those other things.
Absolutely.
And these days, dentists are coming out of dental school with $500,000 worth of debt.
Oh, I know what that's like.
Yeah, I mean, as a new grad, you know what that's like. When I graduated, how many years ago? 29 years ago, I had $120,000 in debt. It was overwhelming. And so you look at all those major stressors, and if you don't have great coping mechanisms, if you don't have balance in your life to kind of, I don't know, just burn stress, have somebody to talk to, have a support network, that sort of thing, you get into trouble. So at this retreat, we had a chance in a small group, because if you're with 100 people or 1,000 people, it's hard to really be open and vulnerable, but when you're in a small group, it's a lot easier to open up, especially when I'm the host and I'm very open, very transparent about what's going on in my life and, where my challenges are, as is Jeff Buski, And so we created a safe environment where I think everybody got to zero in on, where am I right now? What's going on in my life? And usually you've got maybe one or two categories, or you're pretty strong in, and then a couple areas where you're kind of struggling. We are all in different places on all of those things. But to have that interaction where we could really talk it out and come up with strategies for elevating ourselves. Again, whether it's body, being, balance, or business, wherever we needed to work, that's where we worked. And so if you figure out where you're at right now, and you look at where you want to be a year from now, then it's just a matter of reverse engineering. It's like, all right, well, what are the baby steps it'll take to get to this point? What kind of consistency do we need to develop? What kind of accountability do we need to have? And those are all the things that we're able to establish in 72, it was pretty intense, 72 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, it really was.
It's a crash course.
It was. And, the beautiful thing is we were in this super comfy home being attended to by amazing chefs, and
so great.
We felt like VIPs.
Of course.
We had fun. We went deep. So mixing it up a little bit, though. Our next one is going to be in Dubai this summer. Dubai, yeah.
My goodness. Okay, I actually just had I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying, but there's this viral chocolate bar. Okay, you know what I'm saying?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's this viral Dubai chocolate bar. This is off topic, but they fill it. They fill it with this green stuff. I had one.
What? Was it good?
Yes, it was really good. You guys got to look up the
What's the
viral
green stuff?
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
What does it have to do with Dubai?
I don't know. I think it's where it went viral. I don't know, but you bite into it and it feels like you're eating a bird's nest. That's all I can explain. That's all I can explain.
I'm not sure I'll have to dive into that one, but
make sure you provide some to your guests.
Well,
this is the viral Dubai chocolate bar.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up.
No, it's good though. It's good though. But so we found it really, really fascinating that you guys are focusing on the balance between life and work in the dental profession. And would you say that it's becoming more commonplace or just more accepted among dentists in today's industry to want to take care of themselves both mentally and physically compared to maybe how things were in the past? A lot of the time I felt like in the past 29 years ago or maybe more it was stiff upper lip, rub some dirt in it. Just provide for your family, go pay off that debt, and just deal with it. Be a man.
Right.
But nowadays, I feel like a lot of people are understanding it's not supposed to be that way, and it's got to be better.
Look, at the end of the day, I think you show strength through vulnerability. And it may sound like an oxymoron or whatever, but there's truth to that. You have to be secure in yourself as a man to be able to share things that are difficult to talk about. And if you do, it shows that you're a strong individual. Not everybody's going to go there, and that's okay. But if that's something that you're looking for, there are outlets for that now that maybe weren't there 20, 30 years ago, or people weren't as likely to avail themselves of that. But I think in dentistry specifically, because it's been so well publicized, this issue with mental health and how stressful it is for dentists, that they're more and more seeking that out before it becomes a really terrible situation.
Right.
And so while that is certainly a component to every every retreat, every conversation, any interaction with dentists, because we want to focus on professional things and, being better dentists, being better businessmen, being better communicators, but we also want to be better human beings, in more balance, better mental health, better physical health, all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
But Dubai is different in that I'm taking 3 speakers with me. Dr. Steve Rasner is a rock star in the surgical space. He has surgical courses every month that I think have been sold out for the last 20 years or something. I mean, he is a really talented guy, super dynamic speaker. He's won awards around the world for his dynamic speaking style. He built a $5 million fee-for-service practice in the most socioeconomically depressed part of New Jersey, and has done that consistently year over year over year. And so he's going to talk to our attendees about how to kind of maximize that side of your practice. We get into a little bit of clinical and efficiencies and things like that, but more of the business side of things. This is how I did it, and this is how you can apply it to your practice. So high-end practice. Then the second speaker is back to Jeff Buski again. Now he doesn't have 72 hours, but he has a platform where he can get into body, being, balance, and business, and kind of help at least delve into that and establish some systems and frameworks that can be really helpful and beneficial. And by the way, we're spending 5 days together in a luxury resort, and so we've got kind of unlimited access to us for our attendees. And it's one of those things where one conversation, one idea, one system that's tweaked, pays for this kind of an event tenfold. I mean, easily. So Jeff brings a ton of value. And Jeff, I'm just going to say it, Jeff produced $4.2 million by himself last year. And again, it's not all about numbers, it's all about doing really quality work. When you're a great dentist and you have a great team and you have great communication skills, that is what happens. You get your body, being, and balance kind of on point. The business, it just kind of happens naturally. So that's happened for him. And then our third speaker is Elijah Desmond. And I don't know if you guys know Elijah or not, but when you talk about dynamic people, he is one of those high energy, like through the roof kind of guys. Like
more than you.
Even more than me, believe it or not. In fact, I had him on my podcast a couple weeks ago, and I introduced him. He's like, "Hey, where's my walk-on music?" I'm like, "Oh man, I really messed that up, Elijah." But he started Smiles at Sea 10 years ago, which is dental education on cruise ships. He's taken up to, I think, 1,000 people on cruise ships and gotten amazing dental education. And since then, he's started a dental pitch brokerage with Matt Ornstein, where they have, I think, hundreds of doctors lining up for them to help them sell their practices. And so Elijah is an expert at increasing EBITDA and preparing your practice for an eventual transition. Whether you're doing it like now or 5 years from now, it's good to start planning ahead so that when you get to that point, you can get maximum value, find the right partner, and transition out of clinical care at your pace.
Absolutely. And I think that's so powerful, just being able to collect in a small group and talk about deep subjects that you don't normally get to talk about. That's super powerful. So on these retreats, you obviously get to talk to a lot of successful dentists that have done very well. Have you noticed any common characteristics that these dentists have that maybe unsuccessful dentists or less successful dentists don't have that you notice in them?
Wow, that's an awesome question. And to be honest, I haven't really thought about it so much, but let's think about it now. I mean, what are the essential elements? You've got to have a clear vision that you're able to articulate. So there you get into the communication piece. So you've got a clear vision, you can articulate it to your team, and then put them in positions and give them the tools to carry out the plan that gets to that vision. You're going to be a lot more successful. That comes down to leadership. And good leaders build great teams. Obviously you want to hire, right? But then again, you got to put them in positions where they can really excel and shine. And then you got to be able to delegate. Communicate that vision, put them in places to succeed, and then delegate and trust that they'll do a great job. And that's what frees us up to have higher quality of life, where we don't have to micromanage everything. And that's, I think, when dental practices really get successful.
With the delegation piece and all.
Yeah.
Okay. That's spectacular.
Although, backing up just a second, the other piece of that is investing in yourself and your own education.
Right.
Whether it's clinical, whether it's communication, whether it's leadership, whatever it is, like never stop learning.
Yes.
And these guys, they're already crushing it. They're making a lot of money. They're doing great dentistry.
Yeah.
They invested in themselves and they came on a retreat and had a great time and grew.
And learned.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
That's incredible. Now, I've also seen that you started doing a newsletter, right?
Yeah, I did.
That you've been pushing out, right? And you've been covering a lot of these topics, it sounds like, right? In terms of leadership. Okay. So can you explain a little bit about, your passion or your reason behind that newsletter and what you're hoping to achieve with it?
Great question. I think that in social media, I've been on social media for 18 years, and it's been very social. It's been all about my kids. People always say, I feel like I've seen your kids grow up on Facebook, which my kids cringe. You notice you don't see pictures of my kids on my feed anymore?
Yeah, because they're like, Dad, stop.
And so, kind of segueing away from some of the social things that I've been posting forever, the newsletter I think is a great way to sort of give back a little bit. I feel like the content is really high quality stuff, and I think that it's a roadmap for dentists who might be struggling in some area to, tweak a system, or maybe figure out the leadership piece a little bit through the tips that I can give them every week.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, you guys, like I said, this would be a short episode, but we were so grateful to have Dr. Jim Arnold here with us to talk with us and update us on all this stuff that he's got going on, because he's got a lot going on. He's trying to help the dental industry and help dentists be happier and live a more fulfilling life. Now, where can someone go if they wanted to reach you, look into the retreat, the newsletter, whatever it may be?
Look, I'm an open book. They're welcome to text me at 219-241-4698. Or they can email me at drarnold@smilesbyarnold.com.
Awesome.
And I'm pretty good at getting back to people pretty quickly.
Okay, great. Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining us for another brief episode of the Revolution Dentistry Podcast. We will see you next time. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, that was fun. You guys are awesome.